you, Brad? Good now.
Yo, yo. So I had to actually change my profile picture to add Bridget because we're going to have a combined business plan. And she had to leave. I wanted her to hear this. It's me and her setting our business plan to go to the Super Bowl and watch the Green Bay Packers and the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't even know if that's possible if they're in the separate
I was
leagues.
going to say, is that even possible?
Yeah, I don't. I wish it were, but I don't think it can happen. So anyway, it's in my business plan anyway. So yeah, Michelle, I loved what you were saying earlier about never let fear define. And I say it just a little differently. I say never let my checkbook determine whether I can go do something. And I just remember years and years, I mentioned earlier this week that I was just pissed off that agents have to fail. And I had three daughters and I was in real estate for 3 years and I couldn't fail. And I was mad. And I used to get mad when every time a conference would roll around, I'm like, I don't have $2,000. How am I going to go? And I would literally just hop in the car and drive. And then I became, the guy that shared the room with somebody who like was also scraped. And they're like, oh man, I get to split the cost of my hotel room. And Brad would just crash wherever. I literally would drive to conferences with no hotel room, nowhere to stay, but I was going to make it. So that's just another thing there. I love that whole thing earlier too. I cannot leave without saying, Yulise, living in the future. Girl, I need to hang out with you. You are in the future. I'm going to start hanging around you more. So here's what I'll leave you. Yulise is in the future. No, so here's what I'll leave you with. Before you start your normal business plan, the book that's probably coming your way or that you're going to pull down and do your numbers and what worked, what didn't work, doing the life wheel, all that stuff. I would suggest start with a blank piece of paper. No preparation needed. I remember the first time I did this with Michael Gerber in his dreaming room. I'm like, what do I need to bring with me? And he's like, nothing. You're starting with a blank tablet and a blank piece of paper. Close your eyes. I'm going to bring it back to the beginning of the call. If you haven't meditated, I'm with you, Michelle. I just sitting down, I'll probably fall asleep if I slow down for a second. I wish I could meditate more, and that will be on my business plan, Yulise. But McKenna even talked about dreaming. So it's just close your eyes and dream big and meditate on what that future looks like and go down, way down, and visualize whatever it is that you want to do complete and how it's changing the world. Number two, write down those details. Just describe it on paper. Michelle said earlier, right? With a piece of paper and a pencil. Do not open up a spreadsheet. Write it down. While you're writing, your brain is absorbing and locking that in. Three, create a timeline. Here's where you are now. There is where you want to be. Now you could start working on your business plan, and that will start to fill in some of those gaps on those timeline spots on your check-in points from here to there. And it'll start giving you clarity on that, using the wheel, using your numbers and all that. For me, this has been a perfect conversation today. I literally have a guy coming into my war room. I've got a war room with my office. I've got two different computers. I've got a conference table, my bookshelf. I mean, it's like my war room, but it's also a media room. And today, the slat walls are going up on one of the walls that'll be the new background. So you're not just looking at my office, right? So that's coming to play. And Tony, when you said who needs to be on your team, I mean, and I love, love, love what Chris was sharing about why is this team awesome? Literally, Gerber in the last 2 days, Michael Gerber, that wrote E-Myth, calls me up and he goes, dude, I am not getting any younger. He's like 86. He's like, we have got to get this thing going. So I'm just going to grab the reins and you're going to come along with me. And I'm like, oh my God, who gets a call from Michael Gerber like that? So there's my team, my teammates forcing me to just get this stuff going. So we got big things ahead. So that's what I've got to share today.
I'm waiting on my call from Brad Korn.
I'm just not surprised that he called you, Brad. Who wouldn't want to be in business without you? You're awesome. And I know he knows that. And I'm excited to see what you create. And thank you for sharing all of that. Yeah, we're going to get you on that meditation. We'll start with 1 minute meditation, see how it goes. We're going to pass the mic right on now swiftly.